The wine producers in California like there to be tariffs on wine because that means that all wine coming in from Italy, France, Australia, or anywhere else is going to have a higher price to you and me, the buyers of the wine. Because on top of whatever they charge for their wine, Uncle Sam is putting an extra charge, in this case, 20%. Why do the California wine growers like this? Because it means the wines they compete against, the wines that compete with California wines, are going to be more expensive than they would otherwise be. And the buyer is a bit more likely to buy the California wine, which doesn't have to pay a tariff, versus the Australian, the French, the Italian, the German wine that does when it comes into the country. So here's the simple story that producers all around the United States, if they're honest, will tell you. We like tariffs because it's competitively advantageous to us, because we don't have to pay them. Our competitors from outside the country have to pay. And that means we're going to sell more California wines because they don't have to pay the tax. Their price doesn't have to reflect the tax the way that happens with imported wines. And out of that, you get the idea tariffs protect jobs. And to a point, it's true. It means that people will keep their jobs in the California wine fields. The people who manage the vines, the people who till the soil, the people who package the wine, they'll keep their jobs because more California wines are sold. Why? Because you've hit the importer competitor with a tariff only paid by him, not by you folks in California. So it protects the jobs in the industries where tariffs are imposed on imported competing goods or services. And up to this point, everything is true. But the next sentence is false. That's the end of the story. That sentence is false. It's not the end of the story because the tariff doesn't only affect the industry where the tariff is imposed. And I'll give you an example, but to do that, I'm going to shift from wine to automobiles. And I'm going to take an example that's right in the news today. Almost everywhere else in the world these days, you will see on the road electric cars and electric trucks produced in China, People's Republic of China. Why? Because the Chinese, having worked at it for a long time, are proudly able to say to the world, we have the best quality electric vehicles at the lowest price. And indeed, they do. They have outcompeted Tesla or anybody else. What does that mean? I'm going to give you the example. Let's assume the electric vehicle from China costs $30,000. Okay? That means an American producer, whether it's an American company like GM and Ford, or a country out of the United States, but working inside the United States, like VW or any of the others. If you produce a car inside the United States, an electric car, it turns out that to do the same thing roughly as the Chinese do, you're going to have to spend more money. The Chinese are better at it. They've outcompeted everybody. So to produce a roughly comparable car would cost in the United States $40,000. Okay, you and I both know what's going to happen now, and so does everybody else. If the electric car was sold at what it costs to produce it, the Chinese car would sell for $30,000 and the American car for $40,000. And Americans, like everybody else, would buy the Chinese car. This makes the American car producers very unhappy. They can't make the profits from the electric car they want to make. Okay, so they went to Uncle Sam, or in this case, President Biden, and they went to President Trump. And from both of them, they got tariffs on imported electric vehicles, especially those from China. Right now, here's the tariff, 100%. That was just done a few weeks ago by President Biden. Here's what he did. He made the automobile companies in America very happy. He went to Michigan and told the auto workers, I'm protecting your jobs because I put 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. So the $30,000 Chinese electric vehicle in the United States will cost $60,000. Not only will Americans be unable to buy Chinese cars at $30,000, but if they dare to bring one in, it'll cost them $30,000 plus 100% tariff. In other words, double. They'll have to pay $60,000. And since GM, Ford, Toyota, and others in the United States can produce comparable vehicles for about $40,000, here's what the American companies will realize. Now we are selling cars and trucks, electric ones, in the United States and making a bundle. Why? We are protected. What protects us? The tariff, because it makes it uneconomical for an American to spend $60,000 when he could get a roughly comparable electric vehicle for $40,000 from an American producer. But it's not because the American producer is more efficient. He isn't. He's less efficient. It's not because the American car is better quality. It isn't. It's less. The only reason American cars, electric cars and trucks are selling is because the better competing truck from China, in this case, is disallowed by means of a tariff. In that sense, the jobs of American auto workers are protected.
朋友都知道我是很挑剔的，防晒乳我选 KS 皇家呵护抗光清爽高防晒凝露，因为它有媲美蓝光神盾的抓藻植萃，保护我在阳光下延缓肌肤老化，维持青春弹力，可以防御工作环境里的3C 商品，各种光源对肌肤的伤害，擦起来清爽不黏腻。我特别喜欢它做到海洋友善，365天，天天抗光抗老化，是我的保养日常。你呢？呵护您，呵护全家人，专属你的 KS Royal Care 抗光清爽高防晒凝露。